What's up, people? Just wanted to do this before I get ready to go. I couldn't get to it last night, but today I am doing my Nightmare on Elm Street pitch, and then a little bit later, like later today, I will be reviewing They Live. I watched it again last night. Roddy Piper and Keith. That fight is so good, and the movie itself is just awesome. It really is a perfect movie for the times we're living in. So I'll be reviewing that later. So I can't wait to get to that. John Carpenter is, for me, honestly, as much like Spielberg's my favorite, but Carpenter is like really. I'm gonna be honest, his all his movies to me are good. I can't think of a bad one. Like even like there definitely aren't like I think there is a you know I think his two top tiers are Halloween and then the Thing, but this is up there. The way he's able to make so many different types of films. I mean, this film is so different from like Escape from New York, from Halloween. It's like so. I can't wait to talk about that later today. But right now, I wanted to pitch a Nightmare on Elm Street movie because Nightmare on Elm Street, just like not Freddy, Friday the 13th, is in like some weird, like, we don't know what's going, it's like in this limbo, and we don't even know what's going on, I've always felt like Nightmare on Elm Street, if I'm going to be honest, I honestly only really think there are like three good films, well, I guess four, if you include Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and I guess Freddy versus Jason in a way, but Freddy to me, he was so cool. Like I said, I'm more of a Michael and a Jason guy, but I do like the concept of Freddy. Him haunting your dreams and and like Freddy in that first film and the second even, he was so scary. Like the way he was able to have like he had a little bit of that humor, but it was like uncomfortable. And then I love Dream Warriors. Don't get me wrong, but I do think a little bit like they still maintain Scary Freddy in that one. But I do think too many people, man, like who did the later ones, just ran with Joke Freddy after that, and it just, like, my God, it's like Freddy after like four and on, really, just he became a joke, and by Freddy's Dead, it was just a parody, like, so I feel like with Freddy, I want, with my two pitches, I feel like Freddy needs to go back to being scared, and we do kind of get that in Nightmare and Freddy versus Jason. They kind of bring Freddy back to a more. He's not like super jokey. Like he does make a few jokes in that movie, but it isn't like he's just. It's not like fucking mimic of the fucking Wizard of Oz thing in Nightmare on Elm Street. Blah. Freddy's Dead. Sorry, that's the one I was thinking of. Or, as much as I think the kill is funny, but the Power Glove kill from that same movie, like, it's like, by that point, Freddy was just parody, man, doing stuff like that, and, yeah, but, like, it's cool that they try to bring Freddy back in Freddy vs. Jason, so I want to go back to a more horror, aspect. So my first pitch is gonna be more of, like, I've always wanted to explore this concept, because they always, allude he was the Springwood slasher. I've always wanted to see that as a movie, especially after watching Black Phone. It almost gives me like that movie kind of give me an idea how to do it. Like you go through like the different victims. You don't necessarily have to show him do the killings. Like how Freddy versus Jason did it, like the beginning. You see like the shadow of him raise his hand with the claws, and then you hear screaming. I think you could do it like that. But I would like to explore that and get some good actors, give it like because I think this would be in like the 70s when he was doing the murders. So this would have been a cool, interesting, like, crime kind of deal. And it, like, in a way, like I said, it restores Freddy back to being scary because now you don't necessarily have to rely on him being jokey because he wasn't jokey at this point. And you could have had to get a really good actor to play one of the police chiefs who are hunting for him and who are doing the investigation. You can make this a really good crime thing, and I really think that idea could work. And then you do the iconic show him being burned. Like we've seen him as a Springwood slasher a little bit, like in Freddy vs. Jason, they show it a little bit. Um, in the Nightmare on Elm Street series, I think, well, yeah, one of the episodes was it was the trial, but yeah, like you can even include that. Like you show him getting captured, and you show him like how he got out is because he wasn't read his rights. Like one mess up, and he was able to get out. Like, and then yeah, you can show him getting burned, and even reference you can and have it go to credits, and it's him as like actual Freddy. Like just put a guy in makeup, and he's actual Freddy now. And it almost in a way is like a setup for the original Nightmare on Elm Street. I think, like, I know prequels are kind of a hit, can be hit or misses depending on how it's done, but I really think this one can be a hit, you know? And, like I said, you don't necessarily have to show the kids being murdered. I don't think you need to do that. I think, like, Black Phone didn't do it, but I even think, like, I'm cool with, like, you have a bunch of missing posters everywhere. Get a really good actor to play Nancy's dad, like, 'cause he was still on the force at the time, so you could, like, yeah, I would have liked that concept to be explored. So my second one is now more of a traditional Freddy film. This one was a little tricky for me because I was like, of course you want to get Robert Englund back, and I feel like there's no choice, but I guess this is the way you're gonna have. This has to be truly the last one, because one of the reasons I don't think Robert Englund he left the role was because he got tired of being in that makeup chair, and especially now at his older age, I don't know if he's gonna. Like, I think he'd be open to doing like another movie, but one. I don't think he would want to do like this. The problem is, one of the reasons I think Nightmare is kind of a little side point. Nightmare on Elm Street is a little bit harder to do for why it's been taking them. They're not going to want to just get Robert Englund for one movie, because if it does well, Hollywood classic case. It happened with Halloween. That did well. We have an entire trilogy of it. But it was easier with that because Michael, you can kind of just get any actor to be him. But Freddy, everyone knows, is Robert Englund. And I liked Jackie Earle Haley in the remake. He wasn't why that movie was shit. It was more the story, but that, I think, in a lot of that, some people's eyes, that's why they're like, no, don't recast Robert Englund as Freddy. So if it does well, they're gonna want to do a trilogy, and I just don't really think Robert Englund's gonna want to come back for 3 movies and be in that chair for 3 more movies or 2 more movies. So I think he'd be open to doing one, and it'd be like an ender. So for me, how I thought of it was, if you remember Neil from Nightmare 3, I figured now it's time jump, and maybe he has a kid with a different woman, and you know how he had that house and he still has it and he's a bit older now? Maybe Freddy is haunting his daughter, and that's how you do it. Because you can't, Nancy's dead. As much as I love Heather Langenkamp, Nancy's dead. And unless you retcon Nightmare 3, which people would hate, they were fine with it with the Halloween movies, because I'm going to be honest, I like some of those Halloween sequels, but a lot of people didn't. But every majority of Nightmare fans, I don't think I've seen one who said, like, I mean, they're probably out there, but I haven't seen it, that hate Nightmare on Elm Street 3. So I was like, they're not going to like that. And she dies. She gets a funeral and everything. You see her die. So, unfortunately, she's dead. So what I would do is there's definitely going to be a point in the movie where we definitely honor her character. And maybe Neil even thinks about her. But Freddy in this, I want Freddy to go back to what he was in the first movie and the second one. You can have jokes here and there, but I want a little bit more serious Freddy. And yeah, it's going to be set in modern day, but I definitely want it to have like a more 80s-ish tone. Like, it's going to still be modern, but it's definitely going to have, like, because Freddy, to me, he's going to truly, like Jason, be more synonymous with the 80s. So I feel like if you still keep that, like, tone, it works. Get that score there. I want to have definitely more scary Freddy kills. Like the dream scenes. So no, like the one, was it Nightmare 5, where they did the comic book one? Like, nothing like that. The dream scenes are going to be more serious. Like, I like jokey Freddy, and I get it. A lot of people love that version. Even Robert Englund, like he said, his favorite version, the movie he loved playing Freddy the best was Nightmare 5. And that was like, I guess he had more fun with it, but to me, Scary Freddy is what makes that character. And because to me, once he became a punchline, it just kind of becomes, he's not a horror character anymore. Now he's just a punchline. So at least here, I want Freddy to kind of go back to that. And then you have the movie end where they truly, like Neil and his family, you know, truly defeat Freddy. And then that can be a solid way to end the franchise. And they honor the fallen victims. And there you go. Because to me, Nightmare on Elm Street, I think that could be like, if you watch, like, if this actually existed anyway, you could watch like the original Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 3 and then this one. Because I want, like, I would love for Robert Englund to come back, but like I said, unfortunately, he would not do 2 more movies. He'd only do like 1. So I feel like, you know, other than let's do one where it truly ends it. But yeah, that's my Nightmare on Elm Street pitches. I don't know yet what I'm doing for August. I'll definitely figure something out. But yeah, I would love for Nightmare on Elm Street to come back, because Freddy is such a cool concept. I mean, killing you in your dreams, which, because you can never truly avoid sleep. At some point, you're gonna fall asleep. You know, the body can only take so much. Where yeah, eventually you're gonna fall asleep. So I would love for them to like try to explore that character again, but it's just in this weird limbo right now. So, but yeah, guys, I just wanted to get that out there. Like I mentioned, later tonight, They Live review. Can't fucking wait to talk about that movie. Fucking awesome movie. You're gonna kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubble. I love that line. I fucking popped when that line happened, watching it in real time. But yeah, it's such a classic. Very underrated in a way. I mean, I think a lot of people do talk about it, but it's not, like, I do feel like more when you think Carpenter, obviously, besides Halloween, like The Thing. I would even say Escape from New York. Like, those are like his top 3 that are like mainstream, that people like instantly talk about more. So I would love for this one. This one's definitely great. If you have not seen it, it's awesome. And it's not just like your normal action movie either. Like he does a really good job. Like there's really good storytelling in it. So I can't wait to talk about that tonight. But besides that, I am gonna take a hit and peace out.